Hello, everyone, and welcome to 100 Yards of Football Sports Talk Radio. I'm your producer this evening, Logan Landers. And joining me, as always, on Wednesdays, the draft expert himself, Mr. Football, Vincent Turner, representing the 901. How you doing today, Vince?
How you doing today, Mr. Logan Landers?
I'm doing phenomenal. Per usual, Vince, always glad to have you on the show talking about some football, some draft knowledge as well. We got a good one today. We're keeping it in the UGA. We're talking about Azeez Ojulari. Big guy. Ready to talk about this man, Vincent. But first, before we get started with Mr. Ojulari, if you guys enjoyed this video today, please be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. We appreciate all that you guys have been doing for us over the past weeks, months, years on this show. It's been amazing. And we appreciate all the love you guys have been giving us. It's been phenomenal. So, Vince, we got a guy here. We got a good one. UGA. What you like about Mr. Azeez Ojulari?
Well, I'm going to say this about Mr. Ojulari. And to the Dog Nation today, go Dogs. The young man is the hottest prospect flying up the draft boards right now because he can do one thing. He can get after the passer. Probably the best pass rusher in this 2021 NFL draft. And let me give you my grade report on him. When you look at this football player and look at this young man from the University of Georgia, his motor, A+. Quickness off the edge, A+. Closing speed off the edge, A+. One time when you look at him, he's a guy that knows where he's going along the line of scrimmage, A+. And most of all, when you're a pass rusher and you're playing in the line of scrimmage, it's always about your hands, power in your hands, A+. And he's a guy, you know how I do it here, Logan. I like players that play big in big-time games. He make my list today as a big-time player. If you want to look at game film, all you got to do is go back to the 2021 Peach Bowl. By far, he was the best player on the field, and he's the reason Georgia won that football game. 4 tackles. But this is key. He had 3 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, and he had a forced pass defense. So this is a young man that's a very exciting football player, and I think he's going to do well on the next level. And then you talk about production. Think about this. He had 9 sacks on 193 pass rushing attempts. Then he had 12.5 tackles for losses this season. And when we talk about him being the best pass rusher in the draft, I see why. Because he had 30 quarterback pressures on 193 snaps. And when you look at him, overall, you look at that Georgia defensive style that he's brought his 2 years at Georgia. It takes us all the way back to the 1980s squad. He's got some of that Eddie the Meat Weaver in him. They play nose tackle. Jimmy Payne, who's an outstanding player. Scott Warner, who's an outstanding player. And Terry Hogue, who blocked the field goal in that game. Mr. Ojulari has all the qualities of them Georgia players back in the past. And then you want to talk about him being the next level pass rusher. To me, he's got a little bit of Terrell Suggs in him, a little bit of Pat Swilling in him, a little bit of Jason Allen that played with the Minnesota Vikings, a little bit of a young man that's from Metro Atlanta, but he went up there to Tennessee State and played with the Chicago Bears, Mr. Richard Dent. And most of all, when you see that quick first step, I'm not comparing them though, but think about this. Him flying past some big old offensive tackles off the edge, he reminds me of a young man out of Williamsburg, Virginia. And you know who I'm talking about. The greatest that ever done it rushing the pass. My man, Mr. Lawrence Taylor, who invented the swipe, knocking the ball out of the quarterback's hands. I love this young man. I think he's the best pass rushing guy in the draft. And most of all, you're talking about quality, high character. He might be the most complete player in this 2021 draft. And I see why he's flying up the boards. Right now, everybody's saying he's falling up in that top 8 range. He's a football player. The young man out of the University of Georgia. Go Dogs, Mr. Ojulari.
Yeah, he's definitely a heck of a ball player, Vince. And like you said, with those Peach Bowl stats, when the lights were on bright, he showed up and he did a phenomenal job. You got all those sacks, those forced fumbles, pass defended as well. He proved in that game, to me at least, that he has that clutch gene that a lot of teams want when they draft a high caliber player like Azeez is. So like we always do on Wednesdays, we like to give out 3 teams where I think this young man might go out to. So my 3 teams that I got is the Detroit Lions. Look, let's just be real here. The Lions need a lot of help. They have a lot of talk about them now. They got a new head coach. They got a new quarterback. It's a big change for the Lions this season. They've been making a lot of moves. They had a breakout star last year with Romeo Okwara. He had 10 sacks to lead the team. I think that if they can get Azeez Ojulari, that might help out their defense tremendously and help their rebuilding a little bit quicker than some people might like to think. They do need a lot of help on the pass rush, though, and I think Mr. Ojulari would fit in like a glove. My second team I have is the Indianapolis Colts. Colts, they just got a new quarterback with Carson Wentz, Vince. I'm curious to see how that offense is going to click, but hey, you got to have a stellar defense as well. And let's just be real, the Colts edge rush wasn't the greatest. Justin Houston, he might be gone. He might not re-sign. Also, Danico Autry, same thing with him. You don't know if he's going to come back. So if you at least lose one of those guys, you're going to have to come up for it, and you're going to have to pick them up. And I think Mr. Ojulari would be a phenomenal pick for the Colts as well. Like you said, Vince, he has insane athleticism. He's freaky strong. He does that nice swim move, that swipe move. He's got all the tools you look for. Now, there has been one criticism I've seen about this young man is that he's a little bit underweight for his position. They have him listed around 240 pounds, but I don't think that's too much of an issue right now, Vince. He's still young. He can always grow if they want him to, but I think that he can play at that weight and still be fine. Honestly, we saw what he did at Georgia in a high-ranked school in the SEC, which is where some of the best talent is in college football at Georgia. So I don't think that's too big of a worry for me personally, but I do think that Azeez Ojulari would be a good fit with the Indianapolis Colts as well, seeing that they have some guys coming up in free agency. And finally, my third team I have this young man going to is the Tennessee Titans. The Titans, they had a pretty solid last 2020 season. Let's just be honest here. But they weren't able to get the job done, and the main job, as always, is to get that Super Bowl. That's been eluding them. They've been to the Super Bowl in a long time, but they're trying. They're scratching. They're clawing on their way to trying to get back there. They got a lot of young talent, but they just need a few more pieces to get over that hump and to get to the next level, which is the Super Bowl. Now, look, Jadeveon Clowney, that didn't work out last season. Let's just be real. That did not work out for them. They signed him. They thought he'd come in and he'd be a high-production type of guy, and it just didn't work out. They need some help for their edge rush and for their pass rush. Their leading guy for sacks was Harold Landry, Vince. He only had 5 sacks the whole last year. So they definitely need some help, and I think Azeez Ojulari would be a key fit for that Titans team. He would definitely help them out in the pass rush, and he would for sure help the Titans get a few more wins, honestly, and with his freakish athleticism and just his ability to disturb the quarterback. So that's why I got my third team as the Tennessee Titans. So if you guys are watching this, be sure to, Jay, if you think my predictions are right, tell me I'm right. If I'm way off and I'm wrong, drop that too. I like to see what all you guys like to say, and it's been great. So, Vince, give me your final thoughts on Azeez Ojulari, the young man from the University of Georgia.
Well, when you talk about the young man Ojulari, and you brought up a point that you had a concern about his weight, but I'm going to take you back in time. There was a young man that played for the Pittsburgh Steelers, same built, about 6'3", 245, ended up putting 20 pounds on Jody Porter that became a good player. Then there was a young man out of Troy by the name of DeMarcus Ware that came in undersized with the Cowboys, put weight on him. Then there was a young man that came out of South Carolina that ran track by the name of John Abraham that played with the Falcons. As I said before, you got a good point there. He's only 6'3", 240, but they're going to add weight on him. And when they add weight on him, I think he's going to be in the class when it's all said and done. I'm going to throw another name out there. He came out of James Madison in the 86 draft and was worried about his weight, but he ended up with 5 Super Bowl rings by the name of Charles Haley. So Mr. Ojulari, go Dog Nation. That's a reason this young man is moving up in the draft. And as I looked at the draft board last night, they got him up in the top 10 because he can do one thing. I'm going to say it 3 times. He could put pressure on the quarterback. This is a football player, and he might be one of the best football players coming out of Georgia at that position. A couple of years ago, they had Jarvis Jones that ended up being a pretty good college player, didn't really make it on the pro level, but I think this young man right here has all the tools to be special.
You brought up a good key word there, Vince, pressure. pressure creates diamonds. And right now, Azeez Ojulari is looking like a diamond pick in the 2021 NFL draft. So, hey, if you guys have enjoyed this draft
Logan,
profile today. Yep.
Yeah, I like to say one other thing. Excuse me, man. I like to say my final words. I like to wish happy birthday to my parents down in the 901. They were born on the same day, 2 years apart. To my father, Chester Turner, to my mother, Azeez Turner. They turned 84 and 82 today. God bless. I love you. Thank you. And have a wonderful birthday.
Yes. Happy birthday to your parents, Vince. They raised a great son. And you are, hey, it's been a great job over here, man. It's been wonderful. But hey, if you guys have enjoyed this video today talking about Azeez Ojulari, be sure to like, comment, share, bring it to all your groups, let them know what all we're doing over here. Also, be sure to go check out our podcast as well. If you'd like to look for us over on Spotify, just type in 100 Yards of Football, and you'll see our logo there. But if you prefer Apple as well, we're there as also. So just be sure to type in 100 Yards of Football. You'll see our logo there on the 50-yard line. You can view all of our previous draft profiles we've been doing over the past couple of weeks, the ones we did in the last year. You can also look at all of our old game previews, see if we got those right, all the amazing Legends interviews that we've been doing. And we just been putting a lot of work in over here, and we appreciate all the love and support y'all have been giving us. And we'll be talking to you guys soon here on 100 Yards of Football in the next video. See you soon.